Okay. So let's take a look at the starter code that I'm going to use for this lecture, and you guys will use the same starter code for your lab. It look like this. So let's build a dating app. And this girl is holding another girl's hand, and we're gonna build this, and we implement user login, log out, and then if you log in, then you can browse other people's profiles. So there may be other websites you can get to get nicer pictures. So right now we just get, I don't know why this guy is a guy and it's in the pink one. So supposedly we can generate data that is the guy and girl here. So you can create a pretty sexy dating app. But the most important feature is user profile. It means you log in, log out, forget your password, update your profile information, update your image. Okay, for people who go fast, you can get to the end, and then you can just log into Facebook with Facebook. Then you can get the profile images easily. Facebook make it harder to get friends account nowadays, but it's still possible. You just request it, and once approved, you can do that. Okay. Now, yesterday and all the last week, we used something to create something to create fake data. What are some ways you guys use to create fake data? Yeah, huh? Faker is a gem that you include, and it give you some random word, random string. Anything else? Huh? Yes, photo. How do you get the random photo? Right, so you have those lorem pixel or lorem flicker, right? They provide an API that give you a random image at that URL. It's all right, but what if I tell you to give me generate 10 different users with 10 different profile images? How would you do that? How would you seed that? Where's the data from? From seed. Yeah, so you have to come up with some of these images. Maybe put up yourself like what Oscar just said. So there are when you need this kind of thing, it's very common that other people have wanted the same thing. So pretty much anything you want is just on the internet. So there's there's a random user API. You can just Google for that. Especially people who work on the the mobile app, right? You work with the API all the time. So here's the one that we're going to use. Random user generator, and you can create this social network application. This look like this. You can have any random email and this random face, and yeah, that would be cool. Well, no, it doesn't. It gives you a specific URL. So let's say open the image in new tab. It will look like this, but it's different. So it's like random, but basically, you have a different person, and this person has a different name. So it's a very good way to generate your fake data for your app. Okay? Here's the cool thing though. They provide an API. API, application programming interface. No one really need to remember what it stands for, but it means, right, there are some functions that you can interact with, and here is the JavaScript example, right? If you write JavaScript, and then you can just go into this API, and it will return you this result. You can see, for example, here I get a person with a phone number and some address. This make your data look a lot more believable. So Faker is cool. Here's a Faker. It's like a Faker gem. This is in the Node.js world. This is the Faker module. Then you just download it. Right? npm install Faker. Now they provide the API for us. We're going to do that with Ruby. Okay. This is random API. What the hell? That's not the one I want. Random, it's the same guy, sponsored. I click on the ad. I'm so embarrassed. I click on the ad. But this is the API. It looks like this, guys. It's really simple. If you visit this API, right, randomuser.me/API, you get a bunch of humans you can use. That's pretty cool. User login, everything really. And I get this to work is because of it's like a JSON viewer Chrome extension. So you can Google for that and install. If you don't have this, what you see on the browser will look like this. So it's much harder to see. This is the raw format. This is the raw format and this is the beautified format. So if you install the Chrome extension like this one, then it'll look a little prettier, right? I believe I'm using this one because it has the highest rating and the most number of users. So go with this one, right? This is the one I like, I believe. And it's quite cool because you can collapse the structure here. Remember the Ruby hash and JavaScript object? This is JavaScript object, but it's very similar to Ruby hash. So I'm going to show you how to parse this API to get the results you want to generate seed data. Okay? I think that's pretty exciting, no? All right. And it's really simple. So that's the beauty of it. It's important to just understand how to get someone work with someone else's website over API. So we in this week, and I'm gonna clone the lab work, so it looked like this. Okay, I'll create a team for myself, but don't join my team. Okay. I'm gonna create this lecture team 5-2, right? Oh God, it doesn't work. If it that's pretty bad. There's an error with this is a Ruby on Rails app, and I'm pretty sad. This is really sad. I don't know what's going on. Why does it not work? It's okay. I have an admin account. So anyway, I'm going to clone this and start our project. You guys will start with the lab, but clone. All right, go to dating. Fine, keep it the same. You can name it anything else. Git clone blah and some other name. What's the first thing I have to do, fool? What's the first thing we have to do after we got the project? Well, here I already have git log and everything is clean, so there's no git add because I cloned it from someone else. Huh? There's nothing to commit. That's right. So you want a bundle, and that it will install stuff in this gem file. And then, interestingly, I have to update it to the latest Rails. So in your case, it will also install Rails 1.3. Your app is now 1.2. It's very minor though. It's similar. All right. So we're going to do this. After we bundle install, we should be able to create and run Rails server. However, you do want to create the database and migrate it, because otherwise it will just crash anyway after you run it. Now I have the database before, so I want to do it with the class, so I just drop it and create it and migrate it. That's cool. Let's check out. Normally, when you download an existing Rails app, where do you take a look? Okay, so two good places. One is the route. So just see how complicated this app is. Sometimes if you see a lot, don't worry. I can come back later. Right? It's like, okay, I have an idea. What's some main pages? You do want where the root pages. So that's nice. So like, okay, that doesn't look too scary. /users and /root. Nothing big deal. Where else? Model, that's good. So I'm gonna go and try to be really savvy and actually look at the schema very quickly to see what tables are there in the database. By now, I hope you understand a database is something that your app uses one database. Let's say on your laptop, it uses a development database. When you run Rails test, it uses a test database. When you put it on Heroku, it uses a production database. Inside the database, you have one table per model. Well, so for any table, most of the time, you're going to have a model with it, like users table, then you have a user model. Nope, same schema. Every time you run test, it destroys all the data, right? You have a clean zero user, everything zero. You see how we ran the test yesterday, and you can create something and then you test. It's possible to prepare a lot of data for your test. I will show you that later when you have a more complicated setup. For example, you want to create this, super hot profile with 1,000 friends on his homepage, with images on his album. You want to seed a lot of data, and then you want to test like how can you get certain information, right? Okay, like get the top 5 popular images liked by my friends. Right? If you do that in test, you need test data. You cannot create all the images yourself. Okay, so that's not too bad. Can we guess what model file do we have? We just have user. That's simple. That's cool. You're gonna start with this app. Now I want to have a few users because I'm sick of just having really ugly data. Let's look at the schema, or you can look at the migration file. Tell me what the columns you see up there. Email, name, but there's something else, the image URL. So that's an interesting one. So I have a user there. I have a user.new, and then if I save, I have an error. Okay, I have some errors there. That's good. I do want to validate. To be honest, I only have one validation error here. Where is the password validation from? Yeah, it comes from there. So still, you want to validate the name present is true, right? Okay. So next, I am going to create a bunch of users based on this awesome API place. Where is the name that I want? It will be in here. Interestingly. First and last. Where is the login? No, I mean email. This will be here. So you have this URL. Imagine if Ruby, instead of reading from a file, you have learned file, read like that, right? You want something like requesting. It's like visit this URL, and then get the data back from me. Right? Not just a text file, but get some cool data. Right? I'm going to use a gem called HTTP gem. So I add the HTTP gem for you guys already. So bundle install already included. There are a lot of these libraries. A popular one is HTTP party and stuff. But the HTTP gem right now is my recommendation. Is the best one, and it's just more efficient and it's cool. And it even tries to explain to you that it's better than the other gem. So I mean, technically, any of these things will do. You see some libraries in your other projects that you work with. You may include a gem that uses this gem, one of these gems. So HTTP, it goes like this, .get. How hard is that? You go to the API and then you do .get. Are we clear with the syntax? You do .get, then it visits the API and it saves the content. And check this out. It has the stuff that normally the browser doesn't show you. Like, oh, it's the page loads successfully. Okay, right? Oh, this page has all this content. But where's the body? So I'm gonna do it again, but I give it a response. Okay, it's a variable. Now you have response.code, response.body. Interesting. It can stream if you want, but response.2s. This is the JSON that you saw on the browser over here. this one got rendered pretty here, but he is very ugly, right? Cool. How does it work normally? If you visit a page, the browser actually does the same thing. You visit a page here, see this? The browser under network tab, it actually receive and get a response like this, but with the headers like these guys, like you see status code here, content type here. So these are things that you guys haven't really touched on. And you don't really have to understand very much, but for those who are curious, this is how you inspect not just the body of your, the request from the server. It's also the header. And here you have response dot content type, for example. Who here can guess the content type? That's right. It's TP application/JSON. So when it's JSON, you don't have this kind of thing. That's HTML format. The JSON will be this format. Okay? So there must be a way for me to parse this file, and it's quite simple. They just say, I think you just say parse. Damn, done. You have your Ruby object. The parse method is very smart. It will look at the content type. If it's HTML, it will parse the HTML way. If it's JSON, it will parse the JSON way. So this is now your Ruby object. It's a hash. So I call this like my body. Is that okay? And my body now, what are some keys do you see in this body? Yeah? And then there's another one somewhere, it's hard to see. Sometimes, I don't know if this works. Pretty print.
Info, right?
Yeah, exactly. What's that body? It look like this. So you use PP, it will do pretty print, then it will look like this. It's kind of nice. Huh? So you have the results. You don't have color, but I think, if you install a gem called Awesome Print, then it will print in color. I don't have it yet. Gem install, and it will look like more like this with colors. Anyway, the body now has what I want, so I go into body result. Or got one more time. Right? Or info, what's inside info? Okay. It will just tell you how many pages of result you have and stuff. So now I want body's results, the first person. And you see this person has a gender, name, etc. So if you want name, you go in there. And then you want first name, you go in there. That's the first name. That's the last name. How do you get email? Probably. Yeah? How do you get the image URL? Where's my image?
Picture.
So it's in picture, and then it's inside picture with the large key. Yeah? So this one, that's the first user. That's the first one here, right? Clear? This one? Alright, this one. There are like 12 of them, but I have the first one there. Picture. That's good. And now I can do large. Yeah. And now I can visit this page and verify that it works just fine. Yeah? Okay, so let's write this in our seed. We can seed data with this now. Isn't that awesome? So first I define a URL like this. Actually, it's cooler than that. We can actually look at the documentation, I believe. You can call, see? You can say, I want 10 people or 5 people here, but I want to say gender is female. Then it only returns those with the gender female. So maybe the success of our dating app is to put a lot of ladies on there first. That's right, right? Unless it's a guy-to-guy dating app. So I want this to be gender female. And then maybe race is Asian. I'm just kidding. So this it's female. All right, I think this URL looked good. 5 results. Yeah, okay. I give this URL the URL I want. Maybe you can call this the female URL, and maybe you create another one for male. Let's make it work for our female thing, right? Now here's another thing. Remember our test? I don't like writing all this stuff in seed, and if it fails, it's kind of hard to write code. For now, we can write it here, but I'll show you that it's better to move some of your code to the model. It's easier. Okay, let's just do it here. http.get. You already have the http gem included in Rails gem file. All right, so now we have a response, right? Now we have a data, which is a response.parse. How hard is that? Of course, you can do puts and then you make sure it's there. Yeah. And then your data here in the result. By the way, after I parse, I probably can get the results here. So maybe this is your people, right? Or ladies. That's okay, big people. Data results so that I can copy and paste later for guys. All right, so I have results. So now I have people.each do person. Each of that is a hash. No problem. Can I create a new user for it? User.create. Name is person. So probably I want a temporary variable name here, which is person name and first plus person name and last. Is that okay? That looks fine. And now I have this as a name. Okay, I hope your Ruby is all comfortable at this level.
Capitalize?
Where?
No, I'm asking if we want to use like, because the answers we get are all.
It's true, huh? Maybe you want to capitalize them, or maybe you capitalize in the view. That's good. So maybe capitalize. So for example, here, John Reed capitalize. That's not good. Humanize. I don't know. What's the word that just capitalize all the words in there?
Uppercase, but that should be all.
Huh? Titleize. Hell yeah! I won the Mr. Ruby award. So let's say we just like titleize these guys, and we need an email though. What's my email? Someone, please help. Please.
Person.
It's here, right? I mean, I asked for help, but you gotta help me fast before I know it. And then next, you want an image. What? Thank you. No one is falling asleep. Person. Picture large. Hey man, that's pretty good. And now I want to make sure it's good. Ian, I know you're already falling asleep. Don't you want some water? Here, I want to make sure I can create it with a bang, yeah? Looks good? Alright. I think that's okay. The tricky part is if it's in seed, the only way for me to test is to type railsdb seed, right? So I kind of like doing it a little better. I'm going to go to the user model here, and I'm just going to define a class method. Remember the load all and this stuff. Self.generate users. All right? Take one argument. Huh? Why did I not tell you that? I want you to do it the simple way first. Every week I give you, so that you can keep coming to class. If I tell you every week, like last week, then you don't come to class today. That's bad. So let's say I have this URL over here. Technically, it's still going to be like this, but look, maybe I move the result to the end. Here, end result, right? Equal, put that end in there. That's pretty good.
So the female URL you capitalize as a constant, right?
Huh?
The female URL you capitalize.
Oh, it's a constant, yeah. This is a constant. So it means like don't mess with it. Ruby doesn't really do anything. So it's a variable, but if you do this and you ever change it, it means you're just trying to fool around. So don't do it. So now I'm gonna copy these guys. See, it's beautiful. it's kind of nice to just go in here and let's see if it's still correct though. So I have this. Maybe in this case I don't need that to be a constant anymore. This is fine. This is the URL, okay? You know, sometimes, you know, random user URL, I might do it something like this. Random user URL is the front part of this thing, and then I will join the string. It's too much. All right, that's a URL. I visit the URL, I parse it, and then I get the results, and I do .each, and I create. Looks good. This guy will just create a bunch of things for me. So let's see if this works. And this seed now will just be user.generate users 5. Now you can test this in your console too. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if it works or not. Rails screen, you know, like this. Okay. User.generate users 5. Yeah. Obviously,
We know how to password.
that's right. Oh, you guys did not catch this. Alright, so this is getting a little long, so I add a parenthesis here. I make it maybe a little shorter like that. I close this here. Alright, so it's missing a password. So I'm going to say password is there a password in there?
Yeah. Login password.
That's pretty neat. Alright, we'll get password as well. Person, picture. No.
No, login.
Man, you have photographic memory. Alright, so if I reload and run it, awesome. So now you can test it, .count, okay? Now you just test it in the console, but tomorrow you may feel like, I want to change this and that, and it failed and you don't know it, and then you give it to your friend. You're like, oh, I think this should be like middle, or you do something clever, or like, you know, suddenly you just miss, you know, I don't know, like, yeah, this should be like, you know, comma like that, and you know, what happened then is something unpredictable happens. It's bad. So ideally, I want you to probably write some tests for it. That'll be nice. So let's write some tests. Go to user. Oh shoot, there's no test model test for this project. Here, test model. Oh, there's no model test. Let's create a file called user test. Actually, I'm going to use Rails generate model. Actually, I have no idea how to generate just a test file. Well, it's okay. Model user, all right? All right, let's press enter. That's not good. Skip, see? Skip.
We just want one file, then we just create it under the model.
Correct. Now, you see skip, and it just create these two mod files. I'm going to show you why I did that, because I may not remember this part. If you have another test file here, you can just go and copy and change the class name here, make sure it's the same, right? But this is my first model. I actually may have forgotten this. All right, so Rails test. Now, if you want to run Rails test on just one file, then you just pass in the folder, right? You know, the model. I'm not sure. Should be possible to pass in only the models, and it will run just the model, and then you just user test. It should only run the user test. It will be a little faster that way. All right, we need to test that. So I'm going to test something like this. Test generate users. All right. So maybe maybe test generate 0 users. It sounds a little stupid, but for example, I can assert that user.count is 0, something like this. But you already know how to do that better. Assert equals 0. All right. Initially, there are no users, and I call generate users, and then I say 0, and then I assert equal. I should have 0 again. So that's my first test, the simplest test, even though it seemed useless, but it still failed. Why? Such a terrible syntax. All right, 2 arguments, right? Oh man, null value. Oh, we creating the thing with what's going on.
So you validate the email.
I still have 0. That's weird. If I say generate result 0, does it go?
What about the user?
Oh, this is
typing?
bullshit. It still gives me items. That's why it failed. Alright, result 0 is not a good thing. Okay, I have no idea. I have no idea how many. Okay, maybe let's look at the API. Result. You can specify the format. No, that's the format. How do I get the result? Pagination. Here, right? I guess under 5, it still returns something. So that test is actually not easy. Results. Why is it 1? 1 page, 1 item. Oh, that is results. How many items? 10, that's good. Let's see, let's do 100. It looks big. I have 100 items, yeah. So let's do 0. I think it doesn't accept 0, unfortunately. All right, so it's just do 1. That's the minimum. So we'll okay, the API doesn't work with 0. So I'm just going to generate 1 user. I make sure that it actually works with 1. All right, is it okay? Then you test like that, and then run. I think it still failed. And right now it's saying somehow the email is not correct, guys. Why? Why? Oh, why, baby, why not me? Is it person's email? That's so weird. I can test it in here. It works, no? User.count. Okay, let's delete them all. Alright, so user.generate users 1. Okay, beats me. It works. Here, my test is not working. Okay, I am not sure why there is that validation. I think maybe the test database is not clean. Rails console. I'm gonna check out the test environment. Oh, there's none. No user in there. Let's create something in the test environment. It works. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so there's something to do with HTTP requests.
You see the
I see this when you see you do it in the development database. Alright, I'm gonna take a look at the error more carefully. Let's look at the error more carefully. So what is it saying? Violate null value, violate the not null constraint. All right, and failing this row, insert into this. So it's just inserting the user ID and the user. Yeah, this. Oh no. Nothing works. Email, name. So let's take a look and see why it doesn't work. Maybe I want to print out, right? So let's print out. Here, let's print out, put here name is, and where's my email? I want to make sure email, okay, email is, why is it not working, right? Email. What's that?
You have to do person name.
No,
Name is up here.
the line before that.
All right. Let's try it. Does it print anywhere? Oh shoot! It just this guy's running the wrong controller test over here. Let's delete that damn controller test that we don't need. It's like it's going to this controller, and then somehow I don't like it. Welcome controller test. It should where's my controller test? See, it say that it should go there and get things. Okay, let's just comment it out. I don't care about any other tests right now. Please see, like this welcome controller is ridiculous. All right, so that sometimes we have to be super careful there. I have that failure test. That's not good, but this is still a problem. The model test. So we'll see. Why is it not showing? It's not printing anywhere. That's not good. If I do this in my Rails console, do I print it anywhere, like name here? That looks good. So, what could possibly be wrong? I'm going to print out it to the log because puts is not display here. Normally in a Rails project we use RSpec a lot, so I'm just using unit test, and it means I'm not extremely familiar with some extra stuff to debug here. I mean, I can debug by stopping the code here, but I'm not going to confuse you guys with that. So I just print this to our log, right? Generate users, and let's make this a really super obvious one, like make it super obvious. One new line, two, yet. So we print this here, and if I run the test, it should print to my log. It won't print here. I'm going to check my log. Even though it looks super noisy there. Do we see that one? Oh my god, this is so hard to see. Search for generate. Okay, it's not running. I think there may be a problem with let me get back to you guys on that. I'm not sure why this is not generating the test properly. We call it incorrectly somewhere. I'm gonna maybe print this do user.count normally like this. Let's make sure it fails at a very simple use case. Yep, there's something wrong with the database. It doesn't do anything without code. Like even for an empty test, right? Assert true. See, we skipped this test. We skipped like running it, and it already failed. That's not good. So Rails DB. That's not good. I need to fix this. Not null violation. What am I doing that is so weird? Nothing, right? I want email, not name, actually. Violates not null constraint. But I'm not creating a user anywhere, am I? Okay, let's just fix this. Let's delete these guys. Okay. So there is a file that's generated for you This file is called, YAML users.yaml under fixture under test. Unfortunately, this guy is run and database. We have the PostgreSQL database quite strict. Right? When you create the schema, you tell it that null is false here. So PostgreSQL is very strict. It's like I'm gonna look and make sure that anything you create must have an email. It cannot be, it cannot be not. It cannot be empty. So PostgreSQL is strict. That's why you see those errors when you create an invalid row in the table. Normally, this is the PostgreSQL validation. You don't see this PostgreSQL validation because Rails validate before you call save, right? Or when you call save. So Rails will never try to create a bad row. If it does, then Postgres will complain. So it's optional, but it's quite nice to make the PostgreSQL database handle this. All right. So because this is the project that Charles created, and it has this built in. See, wow, name also cannot be nothing. So you get Postgres is very strict here. All right, fine, no problem. But what tripped us was that when you run tests, Rails automatically load the guys that are under here in the fixtures. When you Rails generate model, it generates this fixture file. And when you run a test, so technically I can have a random person like this, if you add column, remove this, and then add the column. So I could add a fake user, like name is David, email is David at example.com, and you can create a lot of user this way. And it's quite clean. This is the test way of seeding data. Okay, and there's a name for this user. It's called one, so it's possible to get this one user. But I'm not going to touch fixture at all because we're not going to use this test framework very much. So I'm going to delete it. This is the reason why it crashed, because it's trying to create an empty user and then it crashed. All right. So you see that my test now passes. It's a very important thing to do when you fail at anything and you don't know why. Start removing the code to make it simpler and simpler until you can troubleshoot it. I have a test that all it says is true. How can this fail? Right? Okay, so now let's go back to what I want to test, which is this. Right? And it passes. So now you can say, I want to test maybe if I generate with 10 users, it also worked that way. So that's the idea. From now on, I always know that this thing kind of, can create results for me. Of course, if you want to be extra sure, here you get this user to be user.first. You're gonna assert, right, that it has a value. So not empty. Assert not empty user.email. Assert not empty user.name. Assert not empty user.image URL. We good there?
Would valid do the same thing?
Valid where?
Like user.valid ?
User.valid ? This will return true, right? Yeah.
But it will check.
That's right. Right. So in that case, then it will check, but it depends on what you write over here.
Yeah.
And so it could be a little tricky. It's not as clear. I'd rather just spell it out here. And if you read it, it makes sense to you. So, cool. It's making a few HTTP requests. In the future weeks, you will learn how to not make the request. It's quite cool. It runs the test once. It saves all the data there on the hard drive, and next time it runs it just pretend to go to the URL, but it's not going there. Rails has pretty much everything thought out. So, okay, we're good. I have some user, I think, user.count here. Okay, let's do it one more time. Destroy all, right? And I go to this user here. I have validation look good. I go to seed. The moment you're waiting for, let's create 5 user by seeding. Of course, you can go to Rails console and seed it. I'm just doing the traditional way here. And then I go to localhost. Okay. Browse profiles. These are people I just added, and notice they're all ladies, right? Females, because we used a female URL. Okay. So that's cool. Just not just getting data from an API. You do this quite often. You can do the same thing with jQuery. You can do the same thing instead of http.get here. If you write jQuery, you will just do jQuery.ajax or jQuery.get and then get your data, and then it's all JavaScript similar. But you do it from the browser right here. Right? So here jQuery.get, if you go into that URL, you can learn how to parse that. So this one like this. So that gives you a response. And so then this one will be response JSON. It's funny because you have to get the response first. JavaScript is slightly different. And then you see how you create an object, and then it display you, it visit the page. So when it display you this object, it's not ready yet. It doesn't have all the content yet, but it has it now. Response JSON. That's the object. Here's the result. It's very similar. So if you want to use JavaScript to do a few things, you know that you can use something similar. So Ruby come with that HTTP. We use the HTTP gem and then we do that. But JavaScript, you use this. All right.
When we set up testing purpose, we made a login to send it to an archive. And jQuery is on the browser.
I mean, it's also possible to cache it with the browser. Okay. So what's next is that you guys will implement the login and logout thing for an existing app, right? So fill in the blank here. So I'm not gonna do that, but I will explain this a little bit. You can set the flash messages separately. So far you use redirect to something, flash colon and success. You can also just set it before a redirect. So depends on your preference, right? In this code, I'm logging the user in by writing this code directly here. You can also use that method, login user, and define this login method in application controller, right? Which is just one line, but the logic is there. Okay. Anything else that we need? It won't be long for you guys to spend time working on this one. Just need to practice to be really sure how to use form tag, right? Why are you smiling so much? Why are you smiling so much? I am very skeptical now. Oh, somehow I got this flash completely lost for some reason. I'll paste it back for you guys to use. So later I'll revisit this and we'll show you how to do the Facebook login, which is another way of thinking, like using API, right? You log in with Facebook, and then Facebook now let you download your profile image and maybe your friends list if you have the permission.
Is it a long process?
No.
Could we do it now?
If you finish the first few milestones, then you get there.
So you're not gonna go
No.
over it in lecture? Okay.
Not right now, yeah. Well, now do it. Actually, I want to make sure everyone can do sign in, sign up like very comfortably. So if you do it, to have the patience to do it one more time. The seeding I explained to you here. For those who finish that, like you should consider using it. But there is one more thing. This app already has the seeding code, but it's something quite new to you guys. So there's under lib folder, there's a tasks folder. The tasks folder, you have something called .rake file, and these are called rake task. It's like, it looks like Ruby, but this is the place where people create different tasks. Thinking so far you have seeding the database is only one task. Migrating your database is one task. So you can define your own. For example, here there's a task that's called coder dating : generate user. That's one task. Later you may have a task that say delete all the shopping cart that is more than 1 day old. Why do you need to store them there? Or you have a task that say, reduce the price of all items by 10%. So it will go in there and change your database for you. So as you work on things, there will be more tasks. So this is just an example as another way of seeding the database. Instead of seeding with DBC, you tell your developer friends to say, hey, type Rails, what's that? Coder dating, generate users. Don't worry, you don't understand the task stuff yet, but later we'll cover it. Okay, so go ahead and do the first few milestones, see how far you guys get with this one. And then after that, I'll revisit with the Facebook login.